Awesome. So these are the pens I'm using for my project. I just made a simple line jellyfish sketch, and I'm taking a simple Sharpie pen first to kind of go over some lines. For this one in particular, for my design, I did something really simple. Literally just line, nothing fancy. Encourage your students, is my suggestion. I would encourage your students to be elaborate as they can. For the design, usually I would hang this up in the classroom for like what we're doing for the month to give them an idea and a little bit of inspiration, along with a PowerPoint slide that kind of describes what I am doing and excuse me, how I'm creating, or what inspires me. So kind of looping back around to now that I have my noggin in order. Ideally just kind of saying like, hey, these are pictures that I really like and I want to create something similar to this. It is really important, I feel like, in high school and in middle school to be able to encourage your students to create based off of inspiration and not copy and paste, ideally. Now, doing a study such as like master studies and copying an artist's work is really great for teaching technique and trying to understand what you're doing, but ideally what happens, and this is also from personal experience from a teacher that just told me grab a picture and paint it and learn that way, to where it took me a long time to learn how to design, and I still struggle with it sometimes, especially when I took illustration, where I would sit there and get super confused. I wouldn't know what to do. And I had to learn, because in design you have to make it up, find references similar, and just go with it and shoot your shot. And it's really hard to do that when you are used to just, oh, here's a pretty lighthouse painting, let's just paint that. So it's super important to be able to encourage that with your kids when they are working. And I found that with creating lessons like this, where find an animal and come up with any type of line you desire, and even something simple, which is why I chose the jellyfish, because it adds so much dimension in these spots. So even though I'm literally just utilizing some line work right here, I am still able to get crisp lines. Excuse me, sorry, my voice is going, and really just find the spot that speaks to me the most. And that's what's super important, is just creating and enjoying the process. And for me, this was just like a little fun thing. I didn't really go too tedious with it. If students want to go more tedious and you have the time limit for that, highly suggest it. For my school at least, it was more of just we only had a month to do a lesson, so I really tried to encourage only a week of lecture, or not even a week, but like the first day of the week to our lecture, and to get those inspirations and to get thumbnails out and really start attacking it straight away. And I really structured my class to really focus and pinpoint on deadlines, because in college or in art school, deadlines are insane, and it does seem a lot of pressure sometimes on the kids. However, we were homeschool based, and I gave them their whole entire class to work on that assignment and project. So for me, I really saw that they had plenty of time, and I wouldn't give them an assignment that I know I wouldn't be able to do within that time span. So when you guys are creating your lessons and trying to figure out the time to do it, that's where you gotta find your own personal sweet spot. Even if it's something like this, where it's like you have to really think about it, think about how long you took to make this project, give that maybe a day or two more time, because these kids really want to perfect it sometimes. Or some kids, you have a mix, or some kids just throw it in there. But yeah, so just really going in with a ton of line work, going in and learning, okay, this is how we are utilizing the space. To me, space is super important because when you're displaying it, or if they're using it in a portfolio, you want that composition to look well. And you know, I would specifically take certain days to talk about each subject, such as composition. This one is simple lines, so not really too much, but when you're walking around or if they're asking for help, really give those notes and those pointers of if you want it to look unique, or if you want it to be more fun or more spread out through the page, you can do this or you can do that. And I found that really helpful and a lot of fun when I was working with the kids, because I was able to kind of really get in there and see the details. And like I said, I'm just doing different types of line. I'm changing the material of pen, so I'm going back between different numbered fine line pens, which was super helpful to get that dimension going, to make it look like I'm adding a really cool flourish to the piece, which in reality, it's literally just the same little squiggly tap of contour lines, and it's what makes it a really fun piece for me. So I highly suggest kind of like going to town and just showing your students like, hey, I'm only using 3 different types of pens, but I'm adding depth. I'm making some lines thicker, I'm making some lines thinner, I'm going back, I'm adding cross hatching. This is a great time to really show them those different types of lines to where you can build the layers and create a piece that's not just a simple line sketch. Because, you know, from the beginning you saw was line, and then now you're seeing there's a lot more depth and angles to this jellyfish, and it is really the most simple jellyfish I've ever drawn. So don't ever be afraid to really just go in there and go to town and really show them different types of line and get that going. But yeah, so this is the final piece. Hopefully this is a great inspiration for all of you middle school and high school teachers. I know our education can be really hard finding things. Enjoy and have a good